I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Dr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Ramos?
Here.
Mr. Bering?
Here. Item D, approval of minutes of 1 and 2 as listed. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindemann, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bering?
Yes. Item E, summary of current events. Ms. Samaniego.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, and staff that is here, and members of the community. We have, first and foremost, this is what we consider Staff Appreciation Week. All of our staff, especially this year, has gone above and beyond their normal duties, and so we'd like to recognize all of our staff, especially teacher. This is officially National Teacher Appreciation Week. So we'd also like to thank all of our teachers for everything that they've done this year, going and thinking outside of the box in finding new ways to teach. Also on May 1st was National Principals Day, so we'd also like to congratulate our principals, and we're having a breakfast for them tomorrow morning. It's a breakfast meeting. And May 6th is also Nurse Appreciation Day, so we have a few nurses on our staff and our health aides, and so we'd like to also recognize them. Tonight, the Elks is hosting a little small reception for any teacher that would like to show up from 6 to 8 p.m. For free tacos and some music put on by Ralph Robles, who's donating his time. So any teacher that wants to stop by can. And just a reminder that Douglas High School graduation is set for May 28th. And it will be in 4 different sessions, as we explained when Mr. Walker was here. 80 kids roughly in each session, all day events, and every student will be able to take 4 guests to graduation. So we have other end of the year activities, but that's the one that's the biggest celebration for high school. And prom. Prom is happening this Friday. Saturday at the front lawn of Douglas High School. So that's all I have.
Is the graduation a continuous thing, or is there a break?
No, there is a break, Mr. Berain. So the times are, I believe, 11, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, Garrick, help me out here.
11, 12:30,
1:30, I believe.
and then
2:30 and 3:30?
I think it's 2 and 3:30.
Okay. So 4 different sessions, and you have the invitation that was sent to you by Mr. Walker. So we can discuss at a later time if you all want to split attending, if you don't want to attend, because they're all going to be during the daytime. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Governing board members, anybody have anything they want to report on as a governing board member?
No.
No? Reports under F.
Mr. Brain, if I may, I would like to, under my report, I guess, this is Garrick's last board meeting for the school year.
Oh, okay.
A bittersweet moment, and so we would like to recognize him and give him a little token of our appreciation for bearing with us this year. Even though we didn't have you here in person for many of the meetings, you were always part of our meetings virtually and had a lot to offer. So for that, we thank you. I know you've led your school and done things because you believe in kids and believe that kids needed to be in school. And so you were very vocal about returning to school, and I appreciate that. So we have a little bulldog, and it says Garrick Duarte, DUSD 27, ex officio student member for 2020-2021. So
Thank you.
Congratulations, and we thank you, and we want to give you this. And stand right around here. Your parents would appreciate a picture. So
I want Mr. Ramos
yes,
to be sure he's in it.
we can kind of get in that corner, and Jana, you can join us. And
Can you give Mr. Ramos and the rest of the board? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, thank you.
Just following up a little bit on what Ms. Samaniego said, it's unfortunate that Gary didn't have the full opportunity of more traditional board meetings than we had, because I think you could have offered a lot sitting over in that position and giving the student perspective, not only as the student body president, but also as a student and having attended the Douglas schools. So I apologize. Of course, there's nothing we could have done about it, but it really wasn't, it was a good experience for you, but you didn't get I don't think you got the full experience, and that's a shame. So, but thank you anyway for your time and all your input.
Thank you, Mr. Ray.
You're welcome. Moving right along, let's get to reports under the Robots project. And I think Superintendent Samaniego, you've got the Clausen teachers here going to make a presentation.
Yes, as I mentioned to you at our last board meeting, Clausen teachers have been very creative in the way they teach simultaneously the online kids and the in-person. And I wanted you to have a first-hand view at what that may look like while students are at home and the rest of you are here in person. And so today we have Mrs. Moen, Clausen principal. You want to introduce your staff?
Good afternoon, board. So I'd like to introduce our staff. We have our robots, Benito, Lucy, Lulu, and Zoe, and our teachers, Ms. Escalante, Ms. Daniel, Ms. Bineda, and then Mr. Tapia, who's actually one of our long-term subs, but he took on the project just along as with them. When we knew we were going to come back to in-person, had to do both in-person and online, they were very worried about having that interaction. So Ms. Escalante started with the robots, and then everyone started to make their own. So we're actually we have kids online already waiting, so they're going to do a little game with all of you. I'm going to give you your cards because you're going to participate in the questions with the kids as well. Okay, really quickly before we start, I'm going to give you, I want to explain that what you're about to see, it's just a little gist, because in the classroom, keep in mind that we have a document camera, computer, 2 screens, the whiteboard, Lulu. So
It's complicated.
it's complicated. Yes, what we're about to do is something really, really simple. Okay? And before they get started, this isn't actually connected, but this is one of the devices they use. It's actually a microphone. So we've had a hard time with the kids hearing through the masks and when they're around the classrooms. So not every teacher has it, but it's a microphone. It's a ball. You can actually throw it and kids can catch it. And the microphone's in there so they can hear each other. So here's, they're going to pretend to use it like it's on, but this is one of the devices we use so the kids can hear us through the masks and everything. Okay?
And if it falls, it's totally okay. It won't echo. That's the nice thing about it, because it won't echo. So it'll stop the sound, and then the sound will come out through the speaker. So it's very nice. So what we are going to do is we have kids online, and we have our little robots. They're going to be presenting the question, and then the students are going to discuss with you some questions, okay? And then you have some cards there with different colors, thank you, different colors, and they just represent like if it was multiple choice. So like for example, the yellow A, blue B, and then C and D. So you would just hold up the card, and then the kids are going to discuss some questions with you. Okay? So,
We're going to move them in front of you. So that way, if we were in the classroom, they would be in the group.
Oh, sure. Do anything you need to have to. You have to, no problem.
Can you hear me, guys? Ms. Pineda is going to be reading the questions, okay?
Miss Samaniego is gonna be.
Yep,
All right, can you
later.
guys hear me?
Okay.
Yes, all right.
Remember to phone me when you start, okay? Not yet. Okay.
So what,
Don't worry.
I need to switch, oh, it's because they were already seeing the. What subjects do you learn about during the day? So go ahead and discuss with your group what subjects you learn during the school day.
Can you guys be
Go ahead and unmute. So you can-
All right, you go ahead and unmute
Okay,
boys and girls, and then
go
you
ahead
can
and
start
unmute,
discussing.
and you can go ahead and start discussing.
Science, social studies, math, reading, writing, we only have
Okay, that's a lot of subjects.
Because of COVID. Is there any subject that you don't get to learn about during the day or the week?
Math in the morning.
Raising girls.
So,
Then it's reading, then writing, and then it's social studies, and then science.
can you guys hear me? Okay, so, thumbs up if you like reading the best. Thumbs up if you like math the best.
So is math your favorite subject?
Well, I was going to ask, what is your favorite during the day?
Is it? Okay.
What is your favorite subject during the day?
So what is your favorite subject?
Everyone is listening.
Okay.
Math, reading,
Track me,
good.
boys and girls. Track me, boys and girls.
Hold on.
Just to be clear, is each, a different student asking different
Yes.
people at the
That's why
same time?
it's so confusing,
Yeah,
and it sounds a lot because.
This is what a classroom may
Yes.
seem
Yeah.
like.
Yes.
Okay.
About the ball.
Mhm.
Like when we have the ball, it's easier because they have the microphone in there. And like when
You
you
go-
were talking,
They couldn't hear me.
But when we have a microphone, they can actually hear us.
Especially because of the mask, it's very hard to speak because they can't hear us. So this helps so that the students online can hear us.
They take turns. They
Okay.
don't all speak at the same time. They take turns. And right now it sounds like a lot because this is just a tryout. But we had never heard it like this before.
Don't forget to raise your
You've never heard it like this either
No,
before?
no. It's just one of them. And
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
Just like raise your hand. Like something else that we use that we forgot to remind them right now is that there's a button in there that they can raise their hand. So they press that and that's the student that we call on. Like right now, I want you to raise your hand. Okay?
Yes. Okay.
So they're raising their hand. Okay, so now the next question is, how many seconds do you wash your hands?
They're asking us?
Yes. So you have to.
Okay.
Who wants to answer that?
Go ahead and help the board
Lisa, go ahead.
Oh, and then the answer is,
Oh,
right.
okay. So you have to get it under your nails. Do you guys use a brush? Like a brush to scrub? No? Okay.
Okay, we got it right. We got it right.
Okay, so we're gonna scrape it?
Oh, your thumbs can okay. Good job.
I get that.
Okay, track me.
Nice job.
Pick your color. Mr. Bruce, pick your color.
Okay, show me the color. Good job, 20 seconds. He doesn't wash his hands. And the next question is, what are morning announcements?
Okay.
What are morning announcements?
Okay,
Okay,
so discuss what are morning
Allison,
announcements,
you
boys
wanna
and
go
girls?
first?
So,
We start off with the ceremonies, and then everything is like a
okay.
Awesome, Abel. Daniel, do you want to add?
Okay. Okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Okay, track me. Show me your color.
Go ahead and show your colors.
And each day is different, and then after she says our 3 affirmations, she says a famous quote.
Well, thank you, very good.
Good job. It's yellow. Let's move on to the last question.
We do affirmation with it.
And the last question is, how is online learning different from in-person learning? And for this one, it's not going to be multiple choice, so if we can just give an answer from the discussion.
Do you like it? Do you like being at home, or do you prefer being in the school?
Okay.
I see that.
Good answers, guys. It's very difficult.
These are all very good.
Awesome job, boys and girls.
If you lose your
Anybody else want to add one more?
Do you have any more things that you want to tell me about?
Go ahead, Lily.
your connection, it'll log you out. So if online class gets, as Camila said, you have to go, then the teacher can mute them.
Okay. Oh, that is good. That is good. That can be good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That you can be muted, but what happens if you forget to turn your mute off? I kind of like hearing all my students. I like to go outside. Yeah. You guys have been great.
Okay, boys and girls, track me.
Awesome job, boys and girls.
They want to
All right, so we're going to
I love it. Thank you.
Okay, so they're not seeing the same students? No. Oh, okay, all right, just one second.
So, our little robot people, they're very nice because the students online don't get to miss out in any activity that we do or anywhere that we go. So, like, for example, if we have any activity outside of the classroom, whether it's outside in the playground or like in the library, anywhere else, we take them with us. So they're always with us and they're always watching the other kids. So even when we discuss, they're discussing with even like different groups of students. So we never lose connection with them. They're online all day with us.
And you're all separate grades.
Yes. Yes. And it's also very nice because the kids online, they like it because they're not missing out so much on things that we're doing in the classroom, and they don't feel so left out. And also, like, wherever we go, even if we're on the other side of the room, they come with us all day. So it's very nice. Do you want to add anything? Oh. Oh, yes, and then in the computer lab, Mrs. Daniels is going to mention that.
We have to tell them because they get busy.
Oh, okay, because their screens are moving.
Okay, something else that we really like about Lucy and Zoe and Lulu and Benito is that we get to help students. Like many times, like if you have students in person, you can help them by looking at their paper and saying, oh, that's where you need help, or what question do you have? When they're online, it's harder, but with the robots, we can help them. How can I get? I need my Lulu. Okay. Bruno, can you log in into Study Island and present? So what he's gonna do right now, he's gonna log in into his assignments, and he's gonna present what he's doing. So this way, I'm able to help him. Like if he has a question on letter B or number 1, see? Go ahead and click on the first one, line flags.
Okay, you can.
So what he's working on at home, I'm able to see it through here. Okay. Thank you, Bruno. So that's one way that we help them.
And my favorite one is when we're doing the whole group discussion. I pin my students on the whiteboard, the online ones, and Lulu is facing my in-person. So by doing that, both groups are seeing each other. So as we're talking and discussing, no one is missing out. They all can see what's going on in the classroom, and they can, like if I have one student in person, they can go on and just present him. And my online students can see everything. So it's really good because my in-person students are connected to my online students as well as the online to the in-person. So that's my favorite one. Do you guys have a favorite one? You have a favorite one?
And then my favorite part of all of this is the interaction that the in-person students as well as the teachers have with all of the online students. Having this hard year, they're still wanting to keep their relationships, keep their friendships, and keep building more relationships, not only with their teachers, but with all of their peers. So this is just a great way for them to stay engaged and in communication with each other. So that's my favorite part.
And as you can see, they're built from just an iPad and stuff we found around the classrooms. Our students built some of the arms, and the signs are made by some of the teachers and some of the students. So the robots was just a way for us to keep that interaction, especially this year when everything was so crazy. So we just wanted to present them to you guys. If you have any questions or anything, please.
Yes, I would like to ask just one question. Out of this terrible pandemic that we had, still have, and you have gone through a lot to be able to teach our kids and for them to succeed. What benefit do you really feel that you have learned with this innovation, these new ideas that came in using the computers, using the system at home? How can it help once we go back to our normal classes in school? Would they be coming to any use, all of this experience you have gotten on with this?
I'll let them answer.
I think they have benefited in many ways. So yes, I see the downside part of it, but then I also see that they're more technology literate. So now, for just one example, like with print shop, we would have a very hard time just getting like in papers in our classrooms on time. Whereas now we can just, we have more online platforms to use and that are available to us. So we don't have to do a lot of the printing anymore. And the kids can just do the assignments on there. So now, and that's also very good because it was very hard, like especially like with my fifth graders, they would lose papers all the time. So even if they forgot like one paper at home, they can still access that same homework assignment at home, even if they forgot it. And also, there's less of carrying books because everything is just online. And anywhere where they have access to internet, they can access their Google Classroom, and all the assignments are on there. And I've also noticed that the kids even teach us sometimes. So we're learning from them because they're also very literate with technology, which is, I love it. And it's also made, for me, it's made my life a lot easier in the classroom because, I don't know, there's more engagement, there's more of me being able to grade especially, and being able to use now like different platforms for like different subjects as well. So it's not just using like one specific platform for just one subject. So there's more availability. And I also like that even though, let's say we have like a student absent, there's no excuse of maybe I can't log in because some of them are even like on the road and they turn on their hotspot and then they're on. So that's why I see the positive side of it because they can just pretty much log in anywhere.
So you strongly feel that in the future, any student that can't be home, can't be in school because of illness or whatever, you can still work with him and he'll be in the class. You'll be able to use this technology now where he won't have homework or the lesson set to him to his home to do it on paper without any assistance. He'll be able to be online with you, the teachers, which I think is one of the great benefits that we're going to get out of this situation. And especially my case, when students are sent home for bad conduct or whatever, it hurts to see these kids. I mean, they're in trouble already with their education, and then we send them home, and even further puts them back, and there's a possibility we can reach out to them with technology now, Maybe it'll help, but it all depends on the student, I know that. But you, the teachers, have done a phenomenal job this year because it has been so hard for everybody, and I really appreciate all the hard work you the teachers have put into it, and also with Mrs. Samaniego and her staff getting everything coordinated, getting everything there. And of course, Marco has worked wonders with this little wand of technology, and everybody's there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to the students, and I will say that, like Mrs. Moen said, they use things that they had in their classrooms to just place the laptop, and I will tell you that the companies now that are selling us school furniture, the tables that move around on wheels for this purpose are about $400 a piece, and so they're trying to make money. So
yeah.
Any other board member have any questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. President, I just wanted to say thank you for being so creative and helping out. And I've been doing that also with my granddaughter at home this year, and I'm not really computer literate, and the comment that they teach us, oh, that's so true.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And I would like to add, and I would like to say thank you to Corey, who she is a rock star. She helps us in every crazy idea that we have and putting it together, and she just supports us in every way possible, and I really want to thank her for that because if it wasn't for her, the kids wouldn't be where they're at right now. So I want to tell her thank you.
Okay, just in closing, on behalf of the board, again, I want to thank you. I think Mr. Ramos covered it pretty well, the sentiments of the board. But to me, it's extremely gratifying to see that you guys are so enthusiastic about this, and you've really, really tackled it. I would say that as teachers, I'm sure in the beginning. Of course, it's been going on for a long time at the college level and at higher levels because they're dealing with a different clientele, right? But with these children, and especially school-age kids, I don't know how you guys would go home at night and just be completely in a mind-boggling mood that, trying to reevaluate the day is, did I do any good? Did they learn anything? Was my instruction proper? Because it's totally untraditional. And, they don't teach these types of methods in the curriculum at the universities. So on behalf of the board, you did a phenomenal job here today. And I think it gave us a new perspective. Again, I think we had a feeling of what you guys really went through. And not only you, but all of the teachers in the district. And the board wants to really, really thank you. And we're going to do everything we can, not only now, but in the future, to recognize that. And just in closing, I'm sure that you probably are waiting for the day that you can really just kind of take a deep breath and have the kids come back and have it all together.
Yes.
Because, to be honest with you, I'm a former teacher. I would have quit. Seriously, you want everybody's full attention. You want to be organized. You want to make sure that what you're saying, that they're listening to you. All of the things that you know as teachers, right? So thank you for a wonderful, wonderful job and a great presentation because it gave us a good idea of what you're going through, okay? Thank you very much.
I just wanted to add, when he said he's a former teacher, I was in high school when he was teaching.
He didn't have to, we didn't mention that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, students, for helping us learn.
By the way, Ms. Moen, are these the actual laptops that the district furnished?
Yes, so these iPads were actually very first generation ones that we got actually from the curriculum department a few years ago. We got a set of about 20 iPads the first round. The new ones we got actually got sent out to kids, so those are on a slightly different case than these ones, but these are like the first round iPads.
Okay, and the fact that, like that young man said, that he'd lose connection and then as somebody come on, thank you for the great job you did. That was a good presentation.
Yeah,
It's
it was.
excellent.
And kids will be outsmart us, and then they turn off their camera, so you're teaching to a bunch of letters, and that's difficult. And talk about struggling with building relationships because you're teaching to an icon. And you're hoping the student is behind that camera.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, in my opinion, it's the same thing with the students. If he's in the classroom and he doesn't want to pay attention, he's not going to pay attention.
No.
The only difference is that the teachers are kind of trying to get to pay attention.
Yes.
At home, it's a different story.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good presentation.
It was.
You have robots at the high school, Garrick?
We don't have robots, no.
You have
Okay,
smart boards.
we'll move to item 2, which is ex officio student member Gary.
Yes. Good evening, Superintendent Samaniego, board members, staff, and members of the community. We are now entering our last month of this school year, and things are wrapping up at DHS. Many clubs are having their banquets this month and saying goodbye to this year's members. Student Council is in the process of having elections for class office positions, and last week the student body officers for next year were elected. So the officers for next year will be the treasurer, Silene Lopez, the secretary, Paulina Camacho, vice president, Sofia Michel, and president, Camila Barrios. Congratulations to these ladies and good luck to them in the upcoming year. This week is also Teachers and Principals Appreciation Week, so I would like to extend many thanks to the teachers at Douglas High School as well as Mr. Walker. This weekend is DHS's prom, which is being put on by the junior class. A few more upcoming events are the senior walk, the senior fun day, and of course graduation. I also have an extra report given to me by the HOSA officers that I would like to share with you. I think we have a video to play? And then I also have a few words from the HOSA officers. They wrote, "This year, HOSA has faced various new challenges in finding ways to connect with our members and still being able to succeed within our competitions. Despite these challenges, we were able to make the best of our year by being creative and coming up with alternative forms of connecting with our peers and preparing for our competitions. We hosted chapter meetings that sometimes included bonding activities, such as an Among Us tournament. Additionally, we were able to work together to succeed within our competitive events by coaching each other on the best methods of study and helping out whenever possible. We even had some members succeed to the international level. Overall, HOSA was able to make the best of our circumstances to continue to create memories while working hard to reach our competitive goals. We'd like to thank all of our members, officers, and advisors for another wonderful year together." And one last thing I would like to say is, lastly, I would like to thank Mrs. Valenzuela, Mrs. Samaniego, and the entire board for this experience. This year was tough, but you helped me make the most of it. And I brought you all a small gift to show my gratitude. I can give them to you now or after the meeting, whichever you prefer.
Whatever you want.
Okay, I can hand them out now. Here you go. They are Ferrero Rocher chocolates that look like little graduates.
Thank you, Garrett. How cute.
Thank you. I'll come around.
Cute. I know what you're having at your party.
Thank you, Garrick. Did you make these?
My mom made them.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank
That's
you,
so
Joni,
cute.
too.
That's really cute.
Very cute.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, and I think thank you to HOSA and the sponsors for putting that on. To make things happen for HOSA during a pandemic year, I mean, that's pretty amazing when they have to travel and go to competitions. So thank you.
Mr. Soto, Business Office Report.
Good afternoon. Yeah, board president, board members. This is my monthly cash report on the main accounts we have. Maintenance and operations, district additional assistant and Title I. Again, this is for the month of March. We still have a couple more months, as you well know, until the end of the fiscal year that ends on June 30th. But this is what it looks like at this point. Any specific questions you may have?
I don't, are you going to comment a little bit about the budget?
Yes, we have an actual item for the revision, for the final revision of the budget later on. So yeah, we'll get into more detail there.
That'll work.
Uh-oh. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
members of the board, no questions or comments? Okay, thank you, we'll come back to you. Then we'll, item F4, Human Resources Student Enrollment Reports, Ms. Cox.
So, good evening. As we've heard Mrs. Samaniego say, and Garrick also, that it is Teacher Appreciation Week. And also it was Administrators Day. However, on behalf of the Superintendent's Office and HR, we would like to formally acknowledge all DUSD staff. Their dedication and perseverance during this challenging year is to be commended. This week, we would like to honor, celebrate, and thank all staff. So all administrators, directors, and supervisors, teachers, counselors, instructional assistants, secretaries, parent liaisons, nurses, custodial staff, food service, transportation and warehouse, maintenance and grounds, business office, IT, New Student Center, ESS, Curriculum and Federal Programs Department, the print shop, the athletics department, the superintendent secretary, thank you, HR, payroll and benefits, my little COVID team, because I couldn't have made it without them this year, substitute teachers that have helped us, school board, but most importantly, parents, guardians, grandparents, aunts, uncles, who became teachers and instructional support this year, had to. Thank you for the dedication to the students of DUSD. So we would like to recognize everybody. In the past, we've had a staff celebration, and unfortunately last year we couldn't have it, this year we couldn't have it, but this year we thought it was important to celebrate everyone. In terms of our enrollment, we are currently at 3,824 students.
What's the differential between that and year-to-date last year at this time?
Last year at this time, we were at 4,079.
And that's a statewide trend anyway,
Yes,
that
yes.
percentage of loss of students.
Yes. Any questions?
Any questions, members of the board? Thanks,
Thank you.
Denise.
Mr. Soto, what was the average loss of students for Arizona? It was 50,000?
No, I think the most recent report was close to 40,000, 38,000 and some students in the whole
Across
state.
Arizona right now.
Right.
Yeah, they cannot account, that they're not on a traditional school district, on a public school district, yeah. So they're probably online or moved out of the state, yeah.
Yeah, just so that people don't get alarmed thinking that it's just this district. It was statewide. Item G, Ms. Valenzuela, do you have anybody who wants to address the
No, sir.
the board? Consent agenda items. Approval of the following consent agenda items: payroll and expense vouchers 1, 2, and 3. Entertain a motion to approve.
I will move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item 3, decision action on the approval of certified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, as presented, one teacher for next school year and an emergency substitute teacher.
Any, okay, in one emergency, so.
yes.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the
By
certified
Mr.
hires.
Lindeman. Second,
I second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Burring.
Yes. Item B, discussion action on the approval of classified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and if you notice the the various positions, those have been posted and vacant for quite some time, and so Grounds has had many vacancies. We're only able to fill 2 from this round of interviews, so we're very lucky that we found different classified staff members for these positions.
Okay, just for clarification for the board, what does a ratification mean on that name listed there?
That she started a little bit ago before this meeting. She had to start working for the 21st century, and Catalina Decker is already an employee of ours. She does this after her normal work duties.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve?
I move to approve the
By Mr.
classified hires.
Lindeman. Is there a second?
I second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Burring.
Yes, and also under that same item, food service summer hires,
Yes,
Ms. Samaniego.
yes, so all those are our classified hires under B.
Okay, there, just for
Yes, and
specificity for the board, what are those different
So
positions?
those are all food service staff that is going to be working the cafeteria and feeding our kids during summer school and throughout for the community. So these are currently food service employees that are going to work during the summer.
Very good. All right, entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Burring.
Yes, item C, discussion action on the approval of classified resignation, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, as presented, and my recommendation is to accept the resignation and non-rehirable.
And non-rehirable, all right,
Yes.
that's for the record.
That's for the record,
You didn't
yes.
say that there,
Mhm, yes,
but that's
that's for
fine.
the record.
I entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the accept the resignation and non-rehirable.
Mr. Lindeman, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Burring.
Yes, item D, discussion, information only for the certified internal transfer. Ms., this is just for the record?
Yes, just for the record, Mrs. Brenda Moreno, who's currently at Sarah Marley, will be transferring over to Stevenson, and that's just for the record.
Item E, discussion action on the approval of certified contract renewals for 2021-22 school year. Ms. Samaniego.
These are 4 additional certified teachers that are employed by DUSD right now that didn't get on the list prior. And the reason we're just placing them on this agenda is these are 4 J1 teachers. This means that they are Filipino teachers, and they are part of a program that would allow them only to stay for 5 years. Due to the pandemic, 2 weeks ago, they were notified that the Department of State would allow for a 1-year extension as long as this district was able to continue employing them. And so that's the reason we didn't put them on, because we didn't think they were going to be able to stay. Unfortunately, out of the 10 teachers from the Philippines that are under that predicament, only 4 are going to be able to stay because those are positions we never filled. So the rest we had to move on and fill. This just came in too late.
Okay, and again, just for clarification, although they're allowed by the State Department to stay for, the contract is only for 1 year.
It's only for 1 year,
Right.
and their employment is based on their J1 visa getting approved for 1 year by the Department of State.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Is there a second?
I second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Salcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Burring.
Yes, item F, discussion action to rescind contract for Mrs. Genevieve Mabago. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, the reason we're presenting this to rescind is because Mrs. McVago, when offered the position and moving forward under her sponsorship, could not get to us until late November, and we cannot afford to wait for that long and hire a sub for those few months. So we have a teacher, which you just approved right now.
Entertain a motion to approve
I
that.
move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second.
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha,
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann,
Yes.
Mr. Ramos,
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item G, discussion action on the approval of donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and this is from the Arizona State Prison Complex for the amount of $1,538.15, and they have given us a check to utilize for what they call Pack to School, so it's items for kids upon the return to school. So we can utilize that money for different things that we feel are necessary for students. One of the things we talked about is probably buying tennis shoes for some students when they return to school.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Is there a second?
I second.
By Mrs. Salchow. Discussion? I think it's interesting to note that that is from the inmate population.
Yes.
That they accumulated 1,500 and
38.
and 38 cents. That's amazing that the prison population is donating that. Can you imagine what it takes for them to accumulate
Yes.
that much money? All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, and again, we always send letters of
Yes,
gratitude and all that, don't we, from, item H, discussion action on the approval of the Douglas Unified School District number 27 certified and classified salary schedules for the fiscal year 2020-21. Is Mr. Soto going to do that?
Yes,
Mr. Soto?
or I can.
No, that's fine. Again, administration decided to make a little change on the current salary schedules, just on the fact that the board approved that 2% to certified and the 30 cents to all classified. And we always do this to make it a little bit more attractive and some kind of marketing to bring especially certified employees. So the proposal right now is an increase of $500 on every category on the certified salary schedule, which covers teachers and counselors and behavior specialists, TOSAs, so forth and so on. And then we did a change of $1,000 on every grade on the administrative salary placement, and 30 cents on the classified salary schedule to reflect that 30-cent increase to employees to cover for the minimum wage increase and for the potential coming in this coming January. Any questions?
Let me just point out a personal opinion. Members of the board, if there's ever any question about what we try to do within the reasonable parameters of what our revenues and our budget, if you look at the salaries there of a teacher with a master's degree and 60 graduate hours, and you think of all the time and money it took for the person to get that master's and 60 degree graduate hours, and their base salary is $44,500. And then if the other extreme is the BA, first-year teacher, all that time and money and sacrifice, and their base salary is $34,000. And, you know, there's a lot of questions today and why there's such a shortage of teachers, and why especially rural areas and remote areas like ours have such a difficult time in getting teachers. That's the reason.
Correct.
That's the reason. And that's why I think we continue to strive to do what we do. Thank you, Mr. Soto. You need an approval on this, so I'm
Yes,
going to
sir.
entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Is there a second? By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item I, discussion action on the approval of classified staff hires for fiscal year 2021, 2022. Ms. Samaniego.
This is a list of all of our current classified staff in the various different positions that we have, and we're presenting them so that you can approve and we can issue them their next wage notice for the following year.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second.
I second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item J, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2021-22 employment contracts for directors, principals, and assistant principals. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, we have a list of the different, whether directors, principals, assistant principals, and you've already approved the 2% increase, so their contracts will be reflected on that 2% increase, and you have Mrs. Trevino, Director of Curriculum Federal Programs, Katie Walker, Director of ESS, Jesus Fernando Pineda, Director of Food Service, Karina Moen, Principal, Fernando Morales, Principal, Claudia Leon, Principal, Henry Jones, Principal, Deborah Herrera, Principal, Rodna La Madrid, Principal, Melissa Rodriguez, Principal, Angel Vidal, Assistant Principal, Rodney Egan, Assistant Principal, Angel Ortega, Athletic Director and Assistant Principal of Douglas High School, and those are the ones we're recommending.
I think you had a list of the salaries there as well, right?
It's the one, do you have that list, the spreadsheet?
Just for the directors.
So you don't have it for the principals?
You do have, I think later in the agenda, you do have an item that shows the salaries of some of the administrators, right?
Yes.
Right?
It's for the executive session.
Okay. All right, let's get a motion on the floor to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second by Mr. Ramos. What I wanted to do is, I saw those salaries, and I wanted the board to see them, but I wanted to show, and not being critical or in any way demeaning to our administrative staff, because they earn every dollar they make. But if you look at those salaries, you're going to see that those administrative salaries and the disparity is almost double and sometimes triple the amount of money that some of those teachers are making. And I'm not saying that they're certainly deserving of that, but I just wanted to point out that the concentration again, and to beat the dead horse, is that we need to do all we can every time we can to bring up those teacher salaries, because I don't think there's that big a disparity everywhere. I mean, and the fact is, because of the history of what's happened here with teacher salaries over the years. All right, I just wanted to point that out as well. But you're going to see those salaries in a minute. You're going to see that they're more than double than some of the teaching staff. All right, so we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bahrain?
Yes. Item 3K, discussion action on the approval of fiscal year 2021-2022 employment contracts for certified and classified administrative staff. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented in here, we have two of our administrators, and the reason they're different, they weren't included in the other ones, is because, as you recall, every year, these two individuals have been grandfathered in with the to include their contract, to include benefits in their contract, and that's the health insurance paid for themselves. And every year we have to bring it to the board so that you all can make a decision whether they continue as stipulated to be grandfathered in. If you recall, there used to be about 5-7 administrators under that same premise. But as they have left their positions and somebody else has been hired, that benefit is no longer there.
Okay, very good explanation. And then, board members, I think you've all got a copy of the enclosure. So in the motion, Mr. Lindeman, would you include and the salaries that are included with the item? That way, we're specific as to what the salary is, and you'll see where it shows the benefits and the salaries. Okay?
Do you want the total of those two?
Yes,
Specific?
absolutely, for those two, and it's on that spreadsheet. It's on that spreadsheet. It's both their salaries are at in the bottom part of the spreadsheet, right? Okay. So you don't need to. It's a public record, but you don't need to specify it now. But if anybody's interested in what it is, of course, these are public records, and anybody that asks for them or what they are, will gladly give them to them. So if you do that, just in that motion, Mr. Lindeman.
Yeah, I move to approve the director's salaries and contracts to include The one item, $97,171.35, and the second, $97,798.28.
Okay, and then for the specifics with the attachment for the record, okay? So there's no doubt what the amount was, that's what we're approving, okay? Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Any questions regarding that, members of the board? Any questions about the explanation given by Ms. Samaniego?
No.
Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item 3L, discussion action on the approval of the revised district annual expenditure budget for fiscal year 2020-2021. Mr. Soto.
Hello again. This is the time of the year where we have to do our final revision to the budget for fiscal year 2021. I guess I don't have to tell you how hard it's been this year in all aspects for the district, not just financially, but we know instructionally, and you saw this with the presentation at the beginning of the board meeting. It's been a challenging year. It's also been challenging financially on a way that, we lost students, that we lost that 5% cut from the government, from the governor, because of the online component. Again, the district was able to manage and just leave a lot of vacancies not filled for the year, so we can have enough money to cover salaries and stuff like that. There's obviously the total budget changed because of the loss of enrollment and the 5%, but we still managed to cover all of the expenditures so far. At this point, what we normally do, once the budget revision is approved, then all of the sites and departments' budgets are locked. They still can do purchases and stuff, but they cannot move monies around to different lines. So there's a lot of planning that goes into this to finalize the school year and the fiscal year. So thank you very much to the principals and the sites and the departments for that. Any specific questions to the report?
Members of the board, any questions?
No.
When are you going to be able to determine the amount under the federal monies that's going to be forthcoming, that extra?
The ESSER monies?
Yeah.
I know Ms. Trevino is working on the grant for the ESSER 2 monies, which is close to $8 million. I know the state is already accepting the applications. They're starting to distribute monies to districts that had already been spending. The ESSER 3 monies, which is potentially 3 times that, is going to be coming pretty soon. I don't have the exact date, but that's also something that we're going to have to apply for this school year. But keep in mind and remember that those monies, we still have a few years. Like ESSER 2, we have until September of 2023 to spend those monies, and ESSER 3 monies until September of 2024. Yes, I get confused, but yeah, so it's quite a lot of money, yes, but we have to be very cautious and conservative on how to spend those monies, because again, we cannot just put them on salaries, because then we're not going to be able to sustain those with the M&O. Those monies are going to go away eventually. The recommendations are to invest in the school materials or school buildings or stipends, one-time stipends. Those are the recommendations, or all of the things that districts are doing at this point. So as soon as I have final information, most likely next month on next month's board meeting, we're going to be talking about hopefully the approval of the ESSER 2 monies, and if possible, then potentially the ESSER 3 also.
If I can ask a question.
Yes, sir.
So all of that money, there's no way you can keep a little bit for the following year?
Yes, those are monies that we can still, they're going to roll over for those years. This is like it's a grant, and there's the specification is that you have until September of 2023, for instance, on the SR2 to spend. If, for whatever reason, you don't spend the money, then the money goes back to them. But trust me, we're going to make sure to spend that money. Same with those. So it doesn't matter, even though if, let's say it gets approved this month, we don't have to spend it by June 30th. So we still have a couple of years to spend those money. We're going to be carrying over the balance.
To add to that question, would that money be helpful in keeping us from ever, my God, going into using their credit? Do we have to use their credit?
And that's why I said that we have to be very cautious on how we spend the monies, because remember that we spend the money and then the state reimburses on a way. So we have to be very careful, and we're not going to be spending $8 million in a month because we're not going to have enough cash to support that expenditure. So we're going to have to be very strategic on how we spend those monies to avoid a fiscal issue within the district cash-wise. Yes, I mean, that's a good question, and that's something that all of the districts in the state, of course, are the same way. So
Same situation.
exactly. So yes, they're being pretty good. I'm going to say that once we do an expenditure and then we make the cash report to the state, it's been fairly quick enough to get the money within the county and then to us. So we haven't been with the ESSER 1 and with the stabilization grant. It was very well done. I mean, I'm just going to say that the state handled it very well. So I'm hoping that continues with the ESSER 2 and the ESSER 3 monies.
Now, will the ESSERs, will they overlap each other at some point?
Yes.
So we'll still be spending ESSER 1, and then ESSER 2
Exactly.
will come in, and then that will
Yes.
be designated.
We still have, as a matter of fact, Marco just submitted the last requisition with the ESSER 1 monies that we had left.
Okay.
We're purchasing a lot of student devices, which I believe is Chromebooks. One of the initiatives for next school year is to become a one-to-one device district. So we're working towards that. So a bigger portion of the ESSER 2 monies are going to be also technology. So Chromebooks for students, iPads, laptops for teachers, and stuff like that. Yeah.
But all in our technology, all the systems that we have to be able to say, like the Wi-Fi, all the equipment that is used to have all of this, everything, is that up to its standard, or are we still behind on all our technology there?
Probably a Marco question.
I
believe we are.
At Marcos, and this is why I wanted to be sure of that.
It's an upgrade. I mean, we're making sure that most of the complaints, it's about Wi-Fi and coverage and dropping but that's something that it's out of the IT department's control, because let's just say we have Cox Communications providing internet, but we don't have control of what happens on their end. We have a bigger bandwidth than we had a couple of years ago. Yes, every year we keep improving, and one of the things that Marco always makes sure is that we have the best technology available to avoid those things.
Especially in the classroom.
Especially in the classroom.
This is what I was
Correct.
trying to get in the classroom.
Yes.
That our technology is up to.
Exactly. Some of the requirements to spend those monies is just that, to address the loss of learning. So it's going to be, that's why we're going towards the computers, the devices, the Wi-Fi, and software, instructional software that is going to help the teachers and the students to hopefully shorten that gap in instruction that they didn't get this school year.
Because we fell behind.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
And if I can add to that, the infrastructure we have in Douglas, it's not just DUSD, it's our town, doesn't assist us much. But there is a great demand in improving our Wi-Fi capabilities, so that part of what the students said, you're in class, your Wi-Fi freezes, you have to log off, or the teacher has to say, let me log off and log back on, are some of the issues that we have seen during, this online portion when everybody in Douglas was trying to do online school. And so the infrastructure didn't allow itself to have 100% at, Wi-Fi access. So it is we need to improve, and we are improving in that bandwidth. And purchasing more technology doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to have the Wi-Fi issues, because that's a separate thing. But we are definitely improving and making it a priority, because we know that it was a huge issue, especially at the very beginning of us starting this distance learning year.
Okay, members of the board, any other questions or comments? Thank you, Mr. Soto. Entertain a motion to approve, please.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman,
I second.
second by Ms. Salchow. Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Burry?
Yes. Item M, discussion action on the approval of the following job description. Ms. Samaniego.
Okay. As presented, and this is an existing position approved by the board at a former, time. I tweaked and made some changes to the grants coordinator position to make, so that it could fit to what we need here in the district. The job description, if you had an opportunity to read it, I've addressed the need for a grants coordinator. Currently, the Department of Curriculum and Federal Programs has one person, and that's the director supervising and overseeing both departments. I firmly, at one point we needed two different directors to do the job. Grants has a busy time at different times during the year, but there's a lot of accountability and a lot of expectations with grants. Most of our Title I salaries are out of grants, and so if we have anything that happens with grants, we're in trouble. So I'm recommending that this grants coordinator position be approved, and hopefully we will find somebody that has the qualifications that we need, and if we don't, then obviously I'll make the decision of, depending on what the committee recommends. But this is for next, starting for the next school year.
The position already exists.
Yes.
And it's encumbered,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it's already.
The majority of the funding
Yes.
comes from the titles themselves.
All of it.
Okay, so just so that you know, but you said approve the position's already
Yeah,
approved.
approve the
It's
job
just approve the
description.
job
Yes,
description.
with the changes.
Okay, so let's get a motion on the floor
I move to approve the job description.
by Mr. Lindeman,
Second.
second by Mr. Ramos. Discussion. All right, to be clear, and the position is already established, so therefore you didn't need to show a need for it. You actually, with the amending of the description itself, you're giving us the need. So I want to make sure we understand that, so we're not creating a new position, just so that everybody knows. It's an existing position, and it's been filled before, correct?
Yes, many years ago.
Right, and the duties and responsibilities were different, and she brought it back with some different criteria in there. Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
We already have a motion.
Oh, you already have, oh, that's right, I'm sorry, Mr. Lindeman did it. Any discussion, board members? Any more discussion?
So would this cover every grant in our district? Or would some people still monitor or submit their own grants?
Yeah, so let me explain that. This would take care of all the title grants. All the other title grants are done by Curriculum Federal Programs, and, well, this person will assist. And then we have our CTE grant that is overseen and monitored by Mr. Young. In the last couple of years, when Mrs. Cox had the grants, she did the submitting of that grant for CTE, but all of the bookkeeping and monitoring and compliance is done by the person in charge of CTE.
Okay.
Do you have any further questions?
Nope, that's just what I wanted to
And then also for clarification, the position answers to the curriculum director, but I also want to always reinforce the fact that anything that does with fiscal responsibility in the district, it's not an independent department, the monies. They go through the chief financial officer, and he coordinates it so that he knows where everything is, because in the past, there's been a little bit, and I'm not the immediate past, but in other places as well, that office needs to know where every penny is and what the district's responsibility, and there's percentages taken out of grants for positions and so on, okay? All right.
I just have, right, so then, Caesar, you with these grants, before they spend the money, you see what they're gonna spend it on, or after they spend it, they show you?
Typically, because I see all of the requisitions. I go through, regardless of the funding, all of the title, all of the M&Os, everything, it goes through me. What the first thing is the narrative of the grant when it's submitted to the state. Of course, I see it, I know what the intention is. There's always sometimes amendments when they want to buy something different, but all of the requisitions and the purchase orders come through me first for approval. And that's the intention, of course, this position, that it will be just another liaison, I'm just going to put it that way, that is going to assist with that. Right now, some of the cash reimbursement forms and the stuff, Sonia, my assistant, does it. So I don't know, there's going to be some kind of assisting between those two positions to kind of like ease up a little bit on Sonia's plate. But absolutely every single time there's a requisition, it goes through me for approval from all the grants.
Thank you.
He needs to be aware of everything, because there's an overlap, and he coordinates expenditures from the M&O along with, he takes indirect costs out of these, and he helps determine what they are. His job description says that he's responsible for all revenues, funds, and accounting, all district. And that includes any money that comes to the district. And just to be clear, there's no separation, and it's not putting the onus on him, but just kind of reinforcing the fact that he needs to know everything that's going on with all the monies in those accounts, okay? Now, we have a motion on the floor, right?
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Thank you. Caesar, roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item N, discussion action on the approval of Douglas High School being an SAT-ACT test center. Ms. Samaniego.
And I brought this to you. This is something that has been happening at Douglas High School for forever. Douglas High School students take the SAT and ACT test, and so I would just like to formalize it and make it known that Douglas High School is a SAT-ACT testing facility. It benefits our students. The students pay for their own test. We just provide the facility. They take a test on different Saturdays. Our counselors from the high school are oversee that testing. And so Mr. Walker submitted this just to make it formal.
The monies that the students pay to take the test, where is that money directed?
To SAT and ACT. We have nothing to do, Douglas High School has nothing to do with the money. It is a very, very strict procedure and on SAT and SAT, so everything is done online. Parents or students have to use a credit card or a debit card. You have to submit a picture ID. You have to print out your receipt and your picture ID at the day of testing so that you can, whoever's the testing coordinator can verify that you've paid and that you are the person that's showing up to take the test. So Douglas High School has nothing to do with the money.
Are any of the Douglas personnel paid?
No. Not by us. SAT does a like a stipend or $80 or so. I don't have the exact amount, but it's based on the number of kids that test, and there are usually 2 counselors that are the coordinators for that.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Do they directly pay those people?
Yes, those funds do not get funneled through the district by any means, or Douglas High School. It's a direct payment from SAT to the coordinators.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Is there a second?
I second.
By Mrs. Salchow. Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item O, discussion action on the approval of addendum number 4 to Future Education of Arizona Service Agreement for ESS Department. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and this is, Futures is who provides all of our school psychologists and related services. And because we did a 2% increase to our staff, they have to reflect that increase for their staff as well. So this is why it's an addenda.
Okay. Entertain a motion to
I
approve.
move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Burring?
Yes. Item P, discussion action on the approval of future education of Arizona service agreement for summer school services. Ms. Samaniego.
And because we are having summer school and ESS students are part of our summer school services, then the current agreement has to be extended to include summer school. And it is a difference of about $6,000, Cecil, for the summer school? Yes. $6,500.
Entertain a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
By Mr. Lindeman. Second.
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Discussion.
Ms.
Mr. Ramos.
Samaniego, are those going to be online too, summer school?
No, we are doing a full in-person summer school program. No
Okay.
online.
But we're still going to have all the precautions and everything?
Oh, no, yeah,
masks and
absolutely.
6 feet, so forth?
Low class sizes as much as possible, and doing the masks, doing the hand washing, everything.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Burring?
Yes. Item Q, discussion action on the approval of the ASBA's proposed 2022 political agenda and the appointment of an official delegate to represent Douglas Unified School District number 27. Board members, how do you want to handle that? Mr. Ramos, Mr. Lindeman, you want Ms. Salchow to be involved in that? I know, Mr. Lindeman, you like doing that, and you've done it forever. Members of the board, do you have any objection? And Mr. Lindeman?
no, I feel that, Mitch, if you're up to it, that you should go again. You have the, the experience, you know what it goes through, and you have the time. And no boss was not going to let you go.
Excuse me? Obviously, you haven't seen this list of things that I've been giving him, but no, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement that Mitch can do this.
Okay, so we have the political agenda already there for whatever it is. And I think the main thing is that we approve the proposed political agenda and the appointment of Mr. Lindeman to do that. And Mr. Ramos, will you make that motion?
I move to have Mr. Lindeman be the delegate to represent DUSD, the ASBA proposed political agenda.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Salchow. Any
Mr. President?
discussion?
Mr. President, in the past, Mr. Ramos has been serving as alternate, and perhaps we could have Ms. Salchow. And this, Mr. Ramos wants to do that again.
I can be the alternate. That's no problem.
Okay, you want to be the alternate?
Sure, I'll be the alternate.
Okay, great. All right, so we'll include that in the motion. All right?
We'll break you in.
Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes,
Mr. Burring?
Yes, item R, discussion action pursuant to policy BGF to temporarily suspend policy BGB, requiring two readings of the proposed policies prior to approval of the adoption in order to approve the following policy advisories and policy immediately upon first reading. And the policies that are there are, they're included, and we won't go over them unless you want, unless you want to be specific on that, Ms. Samaniego.
No, as presented, and these are, both policies have to do with graduation and grade point averages and class rankings, and so this was reviewed and by our attorney, and it's really specific to grade point averages and streamlining that so that there's no misunderstandings pertaining to class rankings.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve
I move to approve.
by Mr. Lindeman. Second,
I second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Burring?
Yes. Item 4, discussion items on request for future agenda items, members of the board. Announcements, Ms. Samaniego.
Paul Heber Middle School 8th grade promotion ceremony will take place May 25th. Ray Barain will be on May 26th. The last day of school is May 26th. Douglas High School graduation ceremony, May 28th, and our next meeting is on June the 1st.
What is the protocol going to be for the middle schools?
The middle schools are going to be outside, the schools, and they're breaking up this class into 2 different sessions and allowing only 2 guests to attend. Social distancing, chairs, and all that is being set up by their staff. Quick ceremonies, in and out, 2 sessions.
Alma, would you let the board know the times?
Yes,
So that
yes.
anyone, and I'd encourage you to attend if you could, to show the support for it. Okay, item, let's see, that was 6, executive session. The governing board may vote into executive session pursuant to ARS 38-431.03, subsection 1 for the following personnel matters. A, consideration of the 2021-22 employment contracts and benefits for the following administrative staff. Mrs. Samaniego, Mrs. Cox, and Cesar Soto. Entertain a motion to do that.
I move to go into executive session.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Salcho. Any discussion? I want to make sure that that other action,
It's gone.
oh,
He resigned.
okay, it went away?
Yes, it
Oh,
went
okay.
away.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bering?
Yes. So we will now be in executive session.
sure didn't write anything the last 15 minutes we talked.
I don't know my shorthand. Discussion action on the approval of 2021-2022 employment contracts and benefits for the following staff: Ana Samaniego, Denise Cox, and Cesar Soto. I'll entertain a motion to approve the salaries reflected that are attached to the agenda item, and it will be a public notice to anybody that wants to see what they are on request of the central office. Mr. Lindeman.
Yes, I move to approve the employment contracts and benefits as reflected on the salary or the spreadsheet.
Second? Second. By Mr. Ramos. Any discussion? Everybody was praising everybody and singing everybody's praises earlier. We want to thank you and your staff for what you guys have done, and it hasn't been easy. It really hasn't, and the times are trying. You know, what those teachers went through, and my God, what an exhibition of I don't want to use the word chaos, but it would have been, for me, it would have been chaotic. I'd have gone home. But the board wants to thank you, Anna, especially, and your staff for all of the hard work and the way you've governed and administrative and guided the district in these tough times, okay? And we're sorry, we can't do more, but nobody better than you and Caesar and Denise understand what the finances are.
Definitely.
Okay? All right, so we have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? No. Roll call.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Entertain a motion to adjourn
So moved.
by Mr. Ramos.
Second.
By Mr. Lindeman. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.